Welcome to Conflict to Clarity in Family Matters with Rahul Kishore.
Welcome back to Conflict to Clarity in Family Matters with attorney Rahul Kishore. Rahul has over 30 years of family law experience in Maryland and holds both a law degree and an MBA. My name is Kevin Rosenquist, and today we're diving into a critical issue for entrepreneurs, professionals, and anyone with ownership in a business: how divorce affects your business interests. Rahul, welcome back.
Hello, how are you today?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Doing good.
Awesome. Well, I'm curious about your background a little bit here. How do you feel like your business education has helped you to represent clients who own their own or are partners in a business?
Well, let me just stress this. At Sean Kishore for 30 years, we have been doing divorce in a specific area called business divorce. And what I mean by that is we've been representing people that have small businesses, from a small convenience store to a Subway to Dunkin' Donuts to a service alarm business at home, to anything like an IT company where they hire employees to do government contracting, because we have a lot of government contractors here. So all of these businesses can be valued as businesses which are marital property. Okay. So my background, I have a finance and economics background, undergrad. I have a MBA and a law degree. And how that has helped me is what your question was, is that we have, what we have to do through the divorce process is we have to fill out financial statements, we have to get bank statements, we have to get tax returns. We have a lot of financial documents that you have to review. And in situations when you have a business, you can imagine how much more information we have. We have profit and loss statements, we have cash flow statements, we have balance sheets. So there's a lot of information. Now, because of my background, I'm not an accountant, and and I can't be an accountant in the case. I cannot be a forensics evidence expert in the case. I cannot be a business valuator in the case. And I bring all these people up. They're all experts who I work with. But why I feel I can do a better job than the next attorney is because most attorneys, a majority of them, don't have number crunching experience. I can help my client go through a financial statement, see if there's actually losses. We can go through a tax return and see if they're showing deductions which are not proper towards the business, to say that the value of the business is less than what it really is. It's just having a second person through the process to help you. We do need experts, and we do always hire experts because lawyers cannot be the experts in a case, obviously. Mm-hmm. So my background and my ability to do this for so many years has really helped me help clients that have a business and trying to protect the business and keep the business in a lot of situations through the divorce process. And I've represented people who are on the other side. And what I mean by the other side is a spouse that is not involved in the business but wants to get her fair marital share of the business. So that's why I think my background would be very beneficial when we have a client that has a business and is going through a divorce.
When someone owns a business, does that automatically become marital property?
Oh, no, not at all. I mean, if the business, first of all, if the business started before the marriage, there's a lot of things we recommend our clients to do if they want to protect that business after getting divorced. After getting married, that what we tell them to do is to do a prenup. And then there are people who've come to me after they're married and they want to still protect the property, the business, and keep it. We do postnup agreements, okay? And those are very, very strong things that we recommend our clients to do. Now, to answer your question whether a business is automatically part of the divorce, yes, it can be, because if the business, even if it was started before the marriage, and you have it during the marriage, then the party that wasn't involved in the business prior to the marriage still can qualify and say that they have a marital interest, especially for several reasons. One is if marital assets were used or marital funds were used to help that business along and additional funds were used, then there's a marital interest there. If you, on the other hand, weren't, you didn't start, you were the spouse that uh, wasn't the one who started the business, but you've contributed substantially in an indirect or direct way to this business, you have a marital interest as well. And we have to determine the value of that um, through the process and get you through the divorce and get your share of the marital interest.
What would you say are some of the most common mistakes that you see business owners make when they're going through a divorce?
Well, listen, most business owners, what they do is they try to hide funds. They try to say that they're making less than they are making, or they try to. The other thing that they do a lot, especially small business owners, they'll try to commingle funds that are all business funds or business expenses, and they'll make them their personal expenses. And then the problem runs is like, for instance, let's say that you just a simple example of they'll take gas expenses that have nothing to do with the business and they'll deduct it as a business expense. And those are the kind of things where you can create a problem. And if you come in front of a court and you do a lot of these types of situations, expenses that are personal and they're supposed to be business, not they're not supposed to be they're not business expenses, you create a problem for yourself. And if you're not transparent from up, you know, in the beginning of the process, it creates more problems and more burden issues where we go through more discovery. They're gonna do more subpoenas for your bank records. They may take a deposition of you. So then you elongate the whole process and create more legal fees for yourself. And eventually, it may never get you to where you want to get to, which is trying to take advantage of a situation and try to say that the value of the business is not what it is. It's better to be transparent, try to negotiate, try to maybe say some part of that business is not marital. Those are the things that we try to do for our clients.
How is a business typically valued in a divorce case?
First of all, we have to get business valuators. I can't be a evaluator of a business. We sometimes have to hire forensics accountants whereas money is being hidden in separate accounts. We have to go through the history of the accounts to see if the business, wired money to another bank account. They're hiding funds, if there's any funds being missed or things like that. So we sometimes hire a forensics accountant. Then what we also do is we um, have to hire a business valuator. And depending on the type of business, they have different standards of ways that they value a business. But generally speaking, they look at the cash flow of the business, they look at the assets, they look at the liabilities, and then they try to determine what in the future this business is worth. And then one of the other big aspects of this is the goodwill of the business. What is the community think of this? Is there like if you have McDonald's, they have a big goodwill to them. So that's another part of the formula that a business valuator will look at. And that's basically the factors. And you have to, and what happens in a lot of these situations is that both parties hire their own expert, which is the business evaluator, and then each business evaluator has to come to court and present their side of how they came up with the value, and the court listens to that and then determines what the valuation of the business is.
We've talked in previous episodes about marital assets and what constitutes a marital asset, and as well as money earned during the marriage. If someone has a business that was started before the marriage, but during the marriage it increases in value, significantly. How does the court view that as far as marital assets are concerned?
Oh, they view it as a marital asset. They can somehow, if you can get a business valuator to value the business when you got married, but and what it is at value now, okay, they can determine the marital share. But I can tell you that if a business did increase in value during the marriage, the um, non-spouse that hadn't really been involved in the business, then they're going to claim their marital share of that. They're going to say that marital funds were used, that they had a non-monetary contribution to that marriage in many ways, and that they assisted in having that business increase its value.
Does it change at all if in situations where both spouses are heavily involved in the business?
Well, it doesn't really change. It basically means that both parties are going to claim that they have a marital share of this. They're gonna, and you can think about it yourself. You know, like I am a mediator. I've told you these are very difficult cases, which involve strategies, ideas. How the if both spouses are involved, you have to think that they both probably want the business. But what happens is, in certain situations, let's say that you own six subways. Well, we can maybe divide the subways, three for one, three for another. But there are some other situations where you can't divide up a business. And we have done a lot of negotiation to figure out how one party will get um, the business and what the other party has to give to get that portion of the business and what the valuation is. And sometimes it involves, you know, if the value is XYZ and they have real estate or they have a marital home, they may give that to the spouse that's not getting the business. So we have to look at all the retirement accounts, whether in a situation there, if there's no other assets to equalize the asset, the marital share for the other party, we have to go to we have to get kind of we have to strategize to figure out like financing for the client to be able to buy the party out, and whether we work with financial institutions, mortgage companies, and things like that, and we have to assist in how we can back up the business to securize a financing deal for a client. So these kind of cases are very complicated. They require people that have a background. Like I said, I have a finance background, and some number crunching and strategy as a mediator to be able to come up with solutions to help the client to get to the end zone, which is to get the divorce and divide up all the property, the marital property, which obviously can include the business.
When you have businesses, real estate, retirement accounts, how do courts balance the business value with those other assets? Is there a negotiation? Okay, you take this, or does it always come down to 50-50? How does that process unfold?
It definitely doesn't have to be 50-50. There's a thing in Maryland which we call a monetary award. And if the court feels that the spouse that, had been doing the business and in, let's say, it depends, there's many factors for a monetary award, but in certain situations, let's say that the court feels that the party that's running the business contributed more to the marriage than the other party, then they may give you a percentage more. Instead of dividing it 50-50, they're going to divide it 65-35 or 60-40, and that may help the court to give the business to one party and say all the other stuff adds up to 35-40%. So we're going to just give the business to that the one party that's going to keep the business and give the other party only 35-40%. I'm just making up the example, but
Sure.
It doesn't have to be 50-50. And we can argue as lawyers, that's part of our strategy, is to argue a monetary award for our client if we can qualify for that under the law.
As we wrap up here, what advice do you give to clients who want to protect their business, keep things private, and make sure everything is efficient as possible?
Like I say, we are the type of attorneys that we'll fight hard for our client, litigate a case, go through all the discovery, do depositions if that's what we need to do. What I tell my clients is if you want this process to go smoothly, if you want this process to be economical, to be transparent upfront, to try to negotiate a fair deal, to not try to do things that you think will help you, like commingling business funds with individual funds, or trying not to provide them all the documents that they need, which are, the payroll. If you have payroll, you're not giving them all the payroll information. If you're not giving them the profit and loss statement, if you're not providing them a copy of one of the bank accounts, or you're not giving them a copy of all the assets, hard assets the company owns. Let's say it's a factory or machinery that they're not providing. They're just missing information to see if they can get away with, if they have machinery worth $100,000, they're not providing that information, that maybe we can, not put that as part of the valuation. Well, if they hire their own valuator, they're going to find out. They're going to come out and review the factory. They're going to come and see your work, and they're going to ask, well, how is this produced, or whatever? Where's the machinery? Are you leasing it, or you own it? And it's going to be discovered. So I try to tell my clients to please be upfront, try to negotiate, do prenups, do postnups if you really want to protect your business. We do that all the time. And do what we call divorce planning. I mean, that is actually a thing that people do. And in the day and age that we live in, it's called divorce planning, and do it. And we're here to assist you every step of the way.
Wow. Awesome information as always, Rahul. Divorce doesn't have to destroy your business. With the right strategy, you can protect what you've built and reach a fair outcome. To get advice tailored to your specific situation, visit maryland-lawoffice.com and connect with Rahul Kishore and his team. And if you're enjoying the show, please be sure to leave us a review, subscribe. We very much appreciate it. Rahul, great chatting with you. Thanks so much for your time.
Thank you, and have a nice day.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe button and leave us a review in the comments.